Hey, so you're starting a restaurant, you're excited, you're nervous. I know you're nervous because I grew up in the back of a restaurant. Like literally, we were in a house and the restaurant was in the front and we lived in the back. My parents ran this restaurant for many, many years. I'd sweep the floors and flip some burgers. And I know how tough it is to run a restaurant business. Probably one of the toughest businesses to run. And you already know this, but you're excited. It's probably your passion. Your nervousness, your caution is probably getting you to watch all sorts of YouTube videos, right? You're trying to figure out what the best menu and best combination of things, location. So you're watching videos, you're reviewing guides, you maybe even hired a consultant. Maybe you have some experience probably in the restaurant business as a server or a manager. But here's the challenge. The challenge is unless you've actually run a restaurant before, like every single piece of that restaurant where you're in charge of everything, buck stops with you, you're never truly going to be ready for the restaurant business. And you're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. Everybody does it. Some mistakes you'll be able to figure out. Some may be really big problems and that you won't be able to figure out. So the only thing that can help you, YouTube videos aren't going to do this for you. Consultants aren't going to do this for you. The only thing that can help you mitigate the risk and achieve and maximize your success is experience. Experience running a restaurant. And conventionally, there's only been one way to gain that experience, right? Is to either work your way up to run that restaurant or create your own like you're doing to start and run that restaurant. But then you're going to make all the mistakes. What if you could learn before you made those mistakes? What if you could gain that experience before you were doing it in the real world and making the mistakes? Well, that's possible now. Similar to how a pilot learns how to fly an airplane, you can actually run a restaurant business in a hyper-realistic, immersive simulation to actually try out different things, learn the intricacies of the restaurant business and the business side of the business. You probably already know the food side of the business to some extent. That's why you're running a restaurant, right? Most people have some passion towards food, but the business side is where it gets you. Pricing, inventory management, cost of goods sold, net profit, gross profit, shipping costs, consumer behavior, consumer psychographics, digital marketing. This is the hard part of a restaurant. You can have great food and still not be successful because you could fail at the business side. And no YouTube video is going to give you the business side. They'll teach you some things about business, but it's not going to get you to think like a business owner, to think like an entrepreneur. And when you have that experience, you kind of get like the spider sense. You can predict the future. You know where problems can happen, and you actually mitigate and stop those problems from happening at all because you already have the experience to know about it. It's like the old saying, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. When you have experience, you can prevent all sorts of problems from ever happening, maintain a less stressful opportunity, career, and maximize your profitability and your success. So this is all possible through realistic simulation games. And that's what I do and what I've been doing for many years. Growing up in the back of that restaurant, one thing I knew is I didn't really want to run a restaurant. It was way too hard. That's way too hard, way too risky. But I think I know a way to help people run a restaurant successfully. And that's through these simulation games, which I've been building for 25 years. My simulation games are used in top schools and universities and colleges and Fortune 500 companies around the world who use to train their employees on how to run businesses. And you can use and access these same simulations in my free community at business-xp.com. That's business-xp.com. You can get started for free. We've got some really amazing training for accounting. I can teach you accounting in 29 minutes, all for free, at your pace, your self-directed learning. I can teach you the basics of entrepreneurship in 1 hour. And if you want to go further and actually use one of these simulations so you can practice running a business before you run into any trouble with your own real business, this is where you're going to find it at business-xp.com. I look forward to seeing you there.